Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here. We're going to just take a minute for people to join. The chat is open, by the way, so feel free to, as you're coming in, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, your name, where you're calling from, what you do. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, feel free, make sure that your settings are set so that you're chatting with everyone and not just the hosts and panelists. And you can change that setting at the bottom of your screen where you type your message and then it says everyone or hosts and panelists. So feel free to introduce yourself here in the chat. And like I said, we're just going to take a minute for people to join here and we'll slowly get started. I already see some familiar names, some new names, which I love. Yes. Hello, everyone. Hello. As I was saying, as you're joining, please feel free to introduce yourself here in the chat, your name, where you're calling from, what you do. We'd love to hear from you. And please make sure that your settings are set so that you're chatting with everyone and not just the hosts and panelists. And you can change that setting by where you type in your message. It'll say that little button that says everyone, or you can toggle that to say to everyone, not just hosts and panelists. Great. So wonderful to see, as I said, some familiar faces. Morocco, we've got DC. I'm also in DC, so I love it. We've got San Diego, New York, Sacramento. Wonderful. Colombia. It's a very international group as we can see, which is fantastic. It's the way that our programs go, and so we love it. Yes, welcome everyone. All right, we're going to slowly get started here. So it is so wonderful to see you all. And thank you so much for coming to the AI Community Engagement Lab Showcase. My name is Kyle Plants. I'm the Senior Director of Leadership Programs, working with J Plus, which is our professional development arm of the school. And we do training programs just like this. And so I'm very excited to be with you here today and highlighting the wonderful projects that have come out of this lab. And it is incredible, the projects that you're going to see here today. Now, this program was made possible with our partners of the Center for Community Media at the Newmark J School. And we have Jean here, who is the executive director of that. And this program also would not be possible without the support from the Walton Family Foundation, who made this program accessible and free for people. And it's wonderful that they have their support, and we're very grateful for it. And this showcase is really going to talk about and dive into how community journalists are using AI in their newsrooms. And so we're going to get started because I know you don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from our wonderful panelists that we have here. But just some quick housekeeping as we get into this. Please, I know we've used Zoom before, but just some quick how we're going to run our session today. Please make sure the chat is open. Introduce yourself there. Feel free to say your name, where you're calling in from today, and what you do. And make sure that your chat is going to everyone and not just the hosts and panelists. You can change that setting again at the bottom of your screen to make sure that it says everyone. We are going to be having time for Q&A, and we love questions. So please feel free to drop questions at any time using the Q&A function that's at the bottom of your screen. So you'll see that button there. Please submit your questions there just so we can funnel them and make sure that we're getting to all of them. So after each presentation, or as you think of a question, please submit it at any point throughout our presentations today. We'll also save time at the end for you to for us to go through those questions and ask all of our panelists those questions. And as you can see, we are recording the session today, so we will share the recording out with everyone once that is done processing. And so you all, because you signed up, you'll be the first to get that recording here. I just very quickly want to pass it over to my wonderful colleague, Jean, who's the executive director for the Center for Community Media, just to say a few words.
Hello, thank you, Kyle. Hi, everyone. I'm Jean Friedman-Rudowski, Executive Director of the Center for Community Media. We are a center within the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism that focuses on strengthening the community media sector nationally. Just going to say two really quick things about why I'm excited and honored to be here this morning. The first, on a personal note, you guys, I get in sometimes like a doom spiral about AI, to be like very honest, right? And seeing these presentations gives me hope. It gives me hope that we can use this technology that is transforming our world for good. And so thank you to J Plus, the Walton Family Foundation, and to the journalists who worked so hard developing these projects. Just like on a really personal note, you are making me feel better about the world and life. Secondly, and obviously much more importantly, there is like so many things in media and journalism, a real disparity in where resources get spent. And I am so honored and excited that we had the expertise of J Plus to be able to, through the support of the Walton Family Foundation, support community media in learning these incredibly important skills because the projects that they're working on are going to make it so that their communities are better informed, which is the goal of all of our work. So thank you for trying for, this small step in rectifying those imbalances and where resources and trainings go in the journalism sector. And I'm just really excited to see these presentations. So thanks.
Thanks so much, Jean. And yeah, we're very grateful to partner with you on this program. Uh, like I said, I want to dive into the wonderful presentations. We have six amazing people here with us today: Diego, Christian, Calvin, Henok, Janina, and Prachi, who are going to share what they've been working on for the past 6 months. And like I said, ask questions throughout using the Q&A function there at the bottom. They are just six of 18 incredible journalists, community journalists that were part of this lab that we just wrapped up about a month ago. And so it is a wonderful group of people, and being able to work with community journalists around the United States has been wonderful. And these are just a taste of some of the things that they've been working on across the cohort here. So just very briefly, I wanted to just touch base and tell you a little bit more about what the AI Community Engagement Lab is. It was a 6-month hybrid and highly participatory program. We had biweekly classes where they were very engaged and workshop heavy, using tools and understanding what it is to be able to enhance community engagement and audience interaction using AI. And that's really essentially the heart and the goal of this program was to equip community-focused journalists with the skills, the confidence, and the experience to ethically use AI to deepen that audience engagement and strengthen their newsroom's connection to the communities that they are serving, and think about how they can serve them better using AI. And so we'll talk about ways that they're doing it from the beginning of the audience, getting audience insights and being able to sift through them and turn those insights and that research into action. We'll talk about how some of the projects are focused on workflows and social media, how they can use that, as well as audience-facing content as well. So we'll highlight the breadth of those ways that they're engaging with their communities there. So they worked on that final project throughout the program here. Like I said, I want to stop talking and I want to turn it over to our first panelist here, which is Calvin Davis. He is the government and politics reporter at Capital Beat Gary. So thank you so much, Calvin, for being here. And you're muted, so just make sure you unmute yourself there.
I am now unmuted. Thank you, Kyle.
Perfect.
Thank you again. So, yes, everyone, I am the government and politics reporter at Capital B. Gary. We are a hyper-local newsroom that covers the Black community here in Gary. And so the project that I worked on, sorry about that. Now, the project that I worked on was specifically focused on a story. So we've started a lean into solutions journalism. And so the story that we started with was one that we knew was important to the community, and it was illegal dumping. And so how we started was with an explainer that we published just to let people know some of the issues with illegal dumping that they may not have known about. And from there, we wanted to start with the model. So the model here that we got from the Green Line, which is a solutions-based journalism outfit in Toronto. So we started with the explainer, and we followed up with an investigative deep feature. So what we did was we found several solutions to illegal dumping that can involve the community. So that was key, is making sure that in the solution stories that you do, they are solutions that people can kind of grab a hold to. So the next stage that we'll do will be the event where we want to listen to community members. And what we'll do is we'll record their thoughts about the issue, and then we'll sort them out with Notebook LM is what we've been using here in the newsroom. So I'll go ahead and so this is the story that published on September 30th. And here is the workflow. So the main tool that we use is Notebook LM, and we use it as a community listening tool. So right now we've created a public comment tracker. So we've listened to meetings throughout the course of this year. And with those meetings and those recordings that we've had, we've created a tracker that allows us to kind of categorize, as you'll see here, the comments from the meetings that they come from, the concern. We can categorize the concerns, and then we also do a little bit of notes on the comments that they said. So in working the story, what we wanted to do was get people involved. So after the story published, we invited them to complete a survey about illegal dumping so that we can kind of get into their thoughts. And here is a quick snapshot of the survey. Here are some responses from the survey. And here's where we get into how we're using Notebook LM. So here's just a screenshot of the Notebook LM face user interface. Here on the left, you'll see the two documents that we uploaded. So what we uploaded was simply the Excel file of the survey. And the survey, once we upload it, allows us to understand essentially what the community is thinking. So here is a infographic completed solely based on the results of the survey. So this is the infographic, and then we also have a map that we want to show for our event. We're going to have residents, and we're also going to have community leaders. And what we want to do is present this to them so that we can have the issues of the discussion already laid out, so that we can contribute to a solution more quickly. So here are more results from the survey that we've created, and here are lists of the individuals who have decided to sign up at the event to possibly contribute and partner with the city. So the largest thing that we're going to do is have the event. And at the event, we're going to set up special tables that individuals can talk at. And we're going to take what we've recorded and we're going to put that into Notebook LM. We put that in Notebook LM and then create an action plan going forward. And once we complete the action plan, we'll send that out to all of the attendees. Also, we'll send that to the elected officials, and we'll use that momentum to incite the change that we would like to. And so that is essentially the end of the project here. We want to host the community event. We're going to use AI to analyze those discussions. We'll publish that community action report that we want to get in the hands of the residents who attended and also the elected officials. And we would like to apply that model to several issues. We like to put out a story, put out publish the results of the survey that we did after that story, and then have a conversation with the community about it. And so that's how we've been using Notebook LM to connect with our community. And I definitely do thank you for allowing me the time to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Calvin. I really appreciate you being here, and I'm excited to see this come to fruition then, and you'll have to keep us posted on it. Thank you so much again, Calvin. Questions, please put them in using the Q&A function at any point there, and that's at the bottom of your screen again. I'd love to invite our next panelist here, who will be Diego Barahona, who's the editor at La Noticia. Diego, take it away.
Hi guys, and good to see you. Let me share my presentation. My name is Diego Barjona. I'm the editor of La Noticia, the Spanish language news organization in North Carolina. As some of you might have heard, we had this week the largest and most aggressive immigration operation in the history of the state. There is a lot of fear here in the immigrant community. We serve the Spanish-speaking community here in Charlotte, and what you are about to see is part of this effort to help our community, to educate it, to help their needs. So we create this project called From Article to Script, and to script to video. Let's see. So the growing Latino community in North Carolina needs reliable information in Spanish. And there's many things that we would like to highlight, like their contributions to the culture, to the economy, also inform about their rights and so on. So the problem, limited resources. Many news organizations have this problem, of course, human and financial, to reach the Latino community with an engaging educational project about their rights as immigrants. And we have to feel sometimes like in this movie Row One, where Captain Cassionander said that we have to make 10 men feel like 100. So how can we do that? We are trying to use some tools for that. So the solution is to leverage in AI. So we create this two-step process to transform articles into videos. So the first part of the project is to create a custom GPT that converts the informative and educational articles into scripts for short videos, thinking, in social media. The second part is to transform this, to use different AI tools to create engaging educational videos. So we will see a little bit about this. So the first part, from article to script, this custom GPT is live. You can use it. It's called from article to script. What it does is we'll take an article from you guys, from the news organization. So all the fact checking, all the storytelling, all the information will be the base for the video. So this custom GPT will take that article, will analyze it, and will give you an explanation of which video style it could be work for social media. And we analyze what are the most prevalent, most engaging video styles in social media. So it will give you in the number two a visual representation in which it feels is better. We have, for instance, short animated explainers, explanatory narrated by someone, testimonial first person, that's what we're going to see in a minute, talking heads like experts or analysis of the situations that we're dealing with. Then it will give you some examples of the headlines of the video and will provide you with a script. In that script, you will have the voiceover and also an idea for images. So let's see how this works. I want to show you a short video from an article that we did about this group of cancer survivors that they gather once a week to learn salsa. It's a way for them to engage in a fun activity, to connect to each other, to connect to their roots, to enjoy life. I hope you practice your Spanish because this video is in Spanish. So let's see just a little bit of it.
¿Puede la salsa ser medicina para el alma y para el cuerpo, aun si la persona tiene cáncer?
5, 6, ready, go. And 1, 2, 3, look up at your eye.
Hace un año, a Gladys le diagnosticaron cáncer en el apéndice. La noticia la sumió en la depresión, sumada a una condición renal que la obliga.
This was an example of that video in which we took the testimony of this group and we analyzed that article through the script analyzer, and we have this engaging video about what they're doing. And also we wanted to experiment other formats, and we got inspiration, we got inspired by the work of Newmark. He used AI to create a powerful long story article into an illustrated video. So we use these tools that he had, use it to create our own educational videos. So what are the tools that we use? For source of information, it was the article of La Noticia, of course. For the script, we use this custom GPT. For voiceover, we use Speech MA, which is free. For images, we use Adobe, the Adobe Cloud. Also for music. For animation, Speed Paint. And for video editing, CapCut. So I'm going to show you a couple of videos. One of them is about the new immigration exam that we have for naturalization in the US. This exam, this test change. Now it's more difficult to do it. So we explain what are the changes. And the next video will be some of the things that folks, immigrants, need to do if they are stopped by police, because it's one of the greatest fears that some immigrants have. So let's take a look.
Si un oficial te detiene, puedes quedarte callado. Todo lo que digas puede usarse en tu contra. Para ejercer este derecho, dilo en voz alta. Quiero ejercer mi derecho a guardar silencio. No tienes que responder preguntas como ¿dónde naciste? ¿Cómo entraste al país? ¿Tienes papeles? Simplemente, no respondas y reitera tu derecho a guardar silencio. No hables de tu estatus migratorio con nadie, excepto con tu abogado. Tienes derecho a un abogado.
¿Estás pensando en hacerte ciudadano estadounidense? Pues prepárate, porque el gobierno ha hecho cambios importantes en el examen de ciudadanía. ¿Qué tienes que estudiar ahora? Te lo explicamos paso a paso en este video. Primero, el examen es más largo y más exigente. Antes, había que estudiar 100 preguntas. Ahora, son 128. Y ya no bastan 6 respuestas correctas. Ahora debes contestar correctamente 12 de 20 preguntas.
So this is part, a little example of the things we are starting to do. There is a lot to do more, especially after this immigration rates that we had here in Charlotte. So we have this need to train our newsroom with all these tools, try new styles. We would like to do more artistic stuff. We would love to experiment with that. Also, we need to acquire more pro tools. Some of the tools that we are using right now are free. And this is it. This is a little example of the things that we can do it with this mission in mind to focus in serving our community.
Thank you so much, Diego. I loved seeing how you used AI to turn it from into a script to the video to the animation. It's really, really incredible. Thank you so much, Diego. Questions for Diego, our panelists, keep them coming through the Q&A. You'll see that we're already answering the questions, so make sure that you're taking a look at that Q&A function and ask questions at any point throughout the presentations today. I'd like to bring up our next presenter, Christian Bencourt, who's the Bilingual Communities Issue Reporter at Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. And thank you so much, Christian, for being here.
Hi guys, thank you. Nice to meet you. Like Kyle said, my name is Christian Betancourt. I'm a reporter with the Central Valley Community Journalism Collaborative. I work with the Merced Focus. And what I created for this was Cosme, a local news shared bilingual. It's a custom GPT for community center social media posts. So pretty much why I built this. I was doing some research because the main issue with some of our coverage is that it doesn't reach the people that we want it to reach. So we wanted to be able to reach the communities that are actually affected by this. So after doing some research, I found that a lot of the adults, Latino adults, prefer social media specifically to get their information from. They usually do digital over print, TV, or radio, and they use WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram to get this information. So these were some of the current posts that we were using when I started this project. As you can see here, this is the same story, 2 different posts. One was the one that was made by our company, and another one was the one that I made. By this time, I was already using GPT to create nuisance and for these reports, how they could reach the people, how could get with them. So pretty much like I said, or social posts for the org, they lacked emotional nuisance. My personal posts resonated more, but they only existed in English. But the stories that we're writing were bilingual, but the outreach wasn't. We had no tool to create platform-specific culturally grounded posts in both languages, so I built one, Cosme. And what went into building this? Like I said, I researched how Latino migrant communities actually get their news. I studied tone, voice, and the emotional gaps that are in our existing posts. I looked at where the engagement was dropping and where it was thriving. And I refined the language by testing my own post in both English and Spanish. And I customized this GPT based on what I already used for my own outreach. I gave it a cultural nuance, how to talk to people in different platforms, because each platform has a different thing. LinkedIn is more professional, where WhatsApp is more family friendly. Facebook is more different kinds of ways. So like I said, Cosme is a result of research, reflection, and trying to bridge the language to platform gap with care. And the way it works, actually, for our organization, we do translate a lot of our articles in Spanish. So we have an English link and a Spanish link. So what I do, I take those 2 links and I put them in my custom GPT, and it creates this post, and this is how it works. Like I said, you open up the ChatGPT. I posted both links, one in English, one in Spanish. I just click go, and then it's going to automatically start generating this post. What it does too, it goes to the website itself. It reads the post, it reads the article, and it will pull out a quote. It will see what the post is like, what the story is about, and actually cater it to different ones. Like you see, we got a LinkedIn thread, Facebook was at the top, Twitter, and you can also add different social media groups as well. You see at the bottom, they're in Spanish. You said it's going to have your Facebook, your LinkedIn, and they'll work in different ways so you can see. And now from here, I purposely put it this way, not automated. We'll automatically go to those because this is just a draft. Like I said, to me, AI is a tool that will help us. It's like a first draft that you can use. So from this, you can just copy paste it, take it to where you need to go, and then I'll be able to make changes, make sure everything's right. And that's another way to prevent hallucinations, but actually just checking the work that AI itself does. And why does it work? It works because it tailors each post to a platform tone and audience. It's very specific. It creates original content, both in English and Spanish. It doesn't just translate from one to the other. Each post is its own thing. It follows cultural and organizational style guides. You can make changes to, to match whatever your organization is already doing. And it's designed for low friction workflows. You just paste the article links and you get shareable posts. Is built for community orgs and local newsrooms that have no communications team and want to be present in social media. What's next? We have tested how Cosmo works with the organization's real workflows. I know some people have used it, so I would actually want to know how it's working with them. I can collaborate with local newsrooms or orgs for pilot runs to refine the tone and output using real community feedback. Because each community is different, so you might want to add the nuisance to it. You can build alternative versions, English only, Spanish only, different languages. And I want to explore, open source version for community facing rollout. And that's pretty much what I have. So thank you very much for listening, guys.
Thank you so much, Christian. It's so incredible to see. And actually, Christian's Cosme is being used also by Diego, who is also in the cohort. So I love to see the collaboration between everyone here. So thank you so much, Christian. All right, we are halfway through our presentations here, folks. So we're going to keep the good vibes going, and I'm going to invite our next speaker, Hanak Mengistu, who is the founder and publisher at Ethiopic LLC. Hanak, please turn on your camera and get ready to present. You're ready to go. And these next few presentations are going to talk about how they're engaging their audiences with games. So it's going to be really exciting. Thank you, Hanak.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Henok Mangistu, and the title of my presentation is How Do You Miss Three Goats? I am the founder of Ethiopic, which is a community news service that delivers essential local news to Amharic-speaking immigrants from Ethiopia and Eritrea residing in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. When I first joined this program at the launch session in New York, I did not have a clear idea of what to build. In fact, I didn't have any idea of what to build up until mid-September. I started experimenting with AI, testing ideas with no budget, just curiosity. Many ideas didn't work, some didn't resonate with me, but they helped me understand what was possible and what my community needed. While in New York for the launch session, two ideas stayed with me: adopting a road and fishing with Ethiopic. Both were about bringing people together in real life and engaging the community. And those became the foundation for what came next. Our audience, the Amharic speaking immigrant community, often avoids traditional news. For many, news still feels like a propaganda or a protest, not a participation. At the same time, new anti immigration rules and the growing push to make English mandatory in everyday life have created fear and barriers. On top of that, AI and most technologies do not support Amharic. So our language and our stories are often missing from digital tools. So this project became about one clear goal: to bridge the information gap for Amharic speaking immigrants using creativity, community, and play. At our Fishing with Ethiopic events, I noticed that people spend as much time playing Uno and other games as they do fishing. That moment showed me that play was already how our community connects. So by vibe coding using ChatGPT and Gemini, I have built 3 quizzes and 1 game that are now live on ethiopic.com. The citizenship quiz helps readers prepare for the new US naturalization test. The English practice quiz supports those improving their language skill. And the Know Your Area quiz asks fun questions about Maryland, Virginia, and DC, helping residents feel more rooted where they live. Alongside those, we are developing Kaldi in DC, a larger story-based game that's still in progress. As immigration slows, fewer new Amharic-speaking immigrants may arrive. That is why we are focusing on the next generation, introducing Ethiopic early through games, community events, and visible local projects. The goal is for Ethiopic to remain part of the community story through the children who grow up with it and become its future readers and leaders. Kaldi in DC is still a work in progress. It's live on the website, but still a work in progress. But it carries deep meaning. It's inspired by Kaldi, the Ethiopian goat herder, who discovered coffee after noticing how his goats became energized after consuming coffee berries. As Ethiopians, we take pride in being the birthplace of coffee, and Kaldi is at the heart of that story. He represents curiosity and discovery, values that mirror innovation and learning. In this game, we reimagine Kaldi exploring civic life in Washington, D.C., connecting Ethiopian heritage with American experience. I would like to close with a short clip of kids in our community playing Kaldi in DC. And watching them play is a reminder that community engagement isn't about technology, it's about the people, curiosity, and joy.
WASD, bro. Down is S, side, left. Oh, oh, You're running out of time, bro. How do you miss 3 goats? I don't know how to get them. It's so hard. Oh, you just
With that, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Hanak. I'm so impressed, and I can't wait to see your project continue to develop. So thank you so much. We're going to continue with the games here, and I'm going to invite our next speaker. Before I do, please, questions always for any of our panelists, drop them in the Q&A function at any point. We will they're answering them live, as well as we'll have time for Q&A here in a little bit. So any questions for all of our panelists, please drop them in the Q&A function. Up next, I'd like to invite Janina Ong, who's the editor-in-chief at Mochi Magazine, who will also talk about how she is using, AI for community engagement in her community. Janina, welcome, and please feel free to turn. Oh, perfect, you're good on camera. Great.
Hey everybody, I am so honored to be joining this showcase today and talking about Mochi Magazine and the work that we did as part of this cohort. So just an intro for you all that don't know Mochi Magazine, we're the longest running digital publication by Asian American women. And this is actually really important to our problem that I'll try to solve during this presentation. Our mission is to define Asian American by amplifying Asian voices to build community and inspire change. We were founded in 2008 for teenage girls, kind of like a Asian American Teen Vogue. But these days we publish everything from lifestyle activism, personal narratives year round. So the problem that we have being a 17-year-old organization is that we have over 2,000 articles. We have a huge archive, and our average reader really only makes it 2 to 3 clicks deep. So that means that we have a lot of content that we're hosting on our site that is just not used at all. This is our homepage, and the question I had was, how can we utilize AI to engage our community and readers to go through our archive? As you can see at the top, we have the most recent articles come out. Then we have some space at the bottom for articles based on tags and different things, but it really doesn't get to the heart of our very deep archive. So one idea that I had was that, a lot of our readers enjoy books. We have covered lots of books in the past. We've done lots of author interviews, roundups, book reviews, and books are evergreen, right? You don't need to just talk about it when the book comes out, although that's the best time to write about it. Perhaps the solution could be that they could find books that they could read, like possibly a chatbot powered by AI to provide recommendations. So I had gone down this route of creating a chatbot, but I figured out very quickly that this is a very challenging implementation of AI in that you have to develop a source table, you have to constantly update it. So not only would I be maintaining the articles on my site, I'd also have to develop a table for anything that was book related. Then I'd have to subscribe and pay for multiple apps to make it work. You need to like have Zapier to integrate into a Google Sheet, to integrate to ChatGPT, to integrate into a chatbot function. And for a small but nationally based publication, I think that it's really expensive. So I think that's one thing that not only myself, but a lot of people in my cohort found is that using AI can become really expensive once the subscriptions add up. So I pivoted, right? The main desire was for our readers and community to go through our archives, whether for books or not. And I don't think that readers just want recs. I think with, as we saw in the previous presentation, they want to play, they want to discover things. And I don't know about you, but I do these games on the regular every morning just to warm up my brain. I play all the LinkedIn games that you see here. I play the NYT games. People love these low-lift, repeatable games, and they're a perfect gateway into our archive. So what I created was a puzzle that is based kind of on Connections, which is the New York Times game. And the addition to it is that when you use it, and I'm using it live here now, it will actually point you to articles that are in our archive. So it says correct Asian comfort foods, and it would show you at the bottom here. And once you finish the whole puzzle, what happens is you have a screen where it shows all the articles that these categories have been pulled from. Yeah. So what I learned, the game is still in production, and we should go live the first week of December, which is really soon. We did conduct interviews with readers about AI, and I think that given our population being Asian Americans, a lot of them wanted us to be transparent about our use of AI, and they prefer disclosure over major uses. They said that it was not important to share about administrative uses that are, normalized in the industry, such as transcription, but they were very strongly saying that they did not want AI generated images or written content, which I agree with because Mochi Mag is built on our written content and the way that we write. So yeah, next steps for us is that we're going to be building a disclosure page, and then we'll be working on marketing the game more widely. Yeah, so thank you for letting us be a part of this work. We're so excited to keep growing and experimenting and collaborating in the new year. You can subscribe to our newsletter. I'll put it in the chat in a bit, and follow us on Instagram for our stories more. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janina. It's so good to see, and I can't wait for it to launch. Please make sure you share with all of us here. Y'all, we're already here at our final presentation, so please keep the questions coming for our panelists in the Q&A. We're about to open up, and I'm going to invite, after our last presentation, all of our panelists back so we can have a conversation here. So if you have questions for all of our panelists, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A. We'll get to them here shortly. But last and certainly not least, we have Prachi Singh, who's the Audience Engagement Editor at India Currents. Welcome, Prachi.
Thank you, Kyle. I'm going to start my presentation. I hope everybody is able to see my screen. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. As Kyle mentioned, I'm the Audience Engagement Editor at India Currents. And for my project for this lab, I wanted to use the foundational archival knowledge, similar to what Janina just talked about, and turn it into advice and wisdom for our readers. So if you don't know, India Currents is a nonprofit news organization covering the Indian American diaspora for about 4 decades now. But we have been primarily covering the first gens, and our challenge and goal for this year was to expand more into the next gens, the second and third gen Indian Americans, and provide them a space for exploring their own identity and their culture. So my project is a interactive personalized tool that is serving as a career compass for this demographic. It directly targets the problem of the tension between pursuing passion versus respectable careers, which is a significant issue for this demographic. So it's basically addressing a very specific pain point and offering a gamified, participatory, and an interactive nature to storytelling. And this was super important because we, as a 30 plus year old Indian American magazine, could not thrive if we don't connect to the 30 plus year old next gens in the diaspora of a community that's one of the fastest growing populations in this nation. So these are the major steps that I took to develop this project, starting all the way from research to testing and refinement, where I am right now. And I'll expand on that later on. But research began with, taking a lot of internal info from India Current's archives, engagement data. We conducted surveys and listening circles with the second and third gen Indian Americans, and then more external info going ahead into, a broader Indian American community and open source research. And then coming up with these user personas because we don't want to be everything for everybody. And then we figured out that identity seeker and cultural synthesizer are the two personas we would want to target based on our legacy of coverage and quickness of short form content. So then I used Notebook LM to narrow down the common pain points between these two user personas to develop like a pilot prototype and to basically find and address a very specific tension from all the broader pain points between traditional Indian values, American societal norms, and generations. And what I learned through this analysis is that for both personas, career choice is a fundamental life decision that deeply impacts their identity, how they balance their roots with modern American life. And they experience this philosophical difference with their parents. And it could be in any range of, overt conflict to subtle negotiation. So when it comes to career navigation, it has all these major challenges like secure job, a stable income, distance or caregiving, what will others think versus passion, independence to make individual decisions, and all of it relates to mental stress. So these major challenges branch out into very specific user journeys depending on what a person is going through. So all of that, I used a Notebook LM to map into specific journeys based on the major themes and the intent, and then created a recommendation engine on Google Sheet using ChatGPT, where India Current's archival stories are being mapped to the kind of problem a user might be facing. I developed it using inspiration from other interactive projects and then coded it on ChatGPT. And as whoever has tried vibe coding may relate to it, it was not always a very smooth process, but I ended up using Google AI Studio. So this is how I started, and this is where I am right now. Um, and yeah, so right now, between end of this lab to today, I have been able to create user journeys for both the personas, and it's all live on India Current's website right now. So if you are interested, please go check it out. I'm in the user testing phase right now. So a lot of people are getting back to me with feedback. They can go through this whole journey based on their personal challenges. And at the end, they are recommended an India Currents article, which they can go and read. It really aligns with our goal to provide a culturally aware mentor guidance that sort of gets the whole Indian American experience and helps our users find that sweet spot between honoring their roots and living their modern American life. Um, what else? Indifference team has been very enthusiastic about trying out AI because of this lab. I have led a few trainings for our team members on best practices, prompting and coding. It has sort of become our assistant to make things easier and faster. But obviously, like every news organization, we have had some dilemmas come up. Like, should it be user facing? Should it be internal? Where is AI in the whole process? Should we use it for content generation at all? Which is why we came up with AI ethics and policy guide, which is again hosted on India Currents website if you wanted to check that out. But I have also created sort of a game which we would not have been able to do otherwise because of third-party tools costing money or just in-house coding expertise. What's next in terms of just this project is I would like to automate the recommendation system. I would also want to make it a smarter engine, which sort of gets, the underlying meanings and interpretations of common Indian parental phrases. It can basically, which can read between the lines when it comes to South Asian communication context. I would really want to also map users to underrepresented or hybrid careers based on their interest and connect them to role models they can talk to. And all of this will keep happening as I keep testing, testing, and testing. So if anybody is interested, I would love for you to go check it out and send me feedback. I'm always happy to hear from you. And that's me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prachi. It's so incredible to see that work that you've been doing and just the process and the way that you got to where you are today. So thank you so much. We are ready for Q&A here, folks. So I'm gonna invite our panelists to turn on their cameras so that we can all see each other. And we'll start the Q&A here in a moment because I'm gonna spotlight everyone here momentarily just to make sure we have everyone in one spot. So give me 1 second here. The first question that I have for everybody, and you all kind of talked a little bit about this as you kind of developed your projects there, but I'd love to know how you identified that this specific thing that you worked on was a need or something that your community wanted, and I'm just curious how you came up necessarily with that idea. So I'd love to, I'll start with Calvin, just to kick us off here.
Yeah, so it became obvious when our presenter from the Green Line kind of presented the process that she used. So I know that we were wanting to use solutions journalism, and the model that she outlaid was brilliant for us because it connected us directly with people. So we put a survey in their hands, have them fill out, but we also have the public event that we have. And so it's a form of direct public listening. So once I saw that as a feature that I could use, and since we were already so familiar with Notebook LM, I knew that that was the project for me.
Great. Thank you so much, Calvin. Diego.
Well, for us, we are trying to find the community where they are. And we have seen this process, for many years here in North Carolina. We have many products. We have the website, newsletters, YouTube channel, social media, all that stuff. But we also a print edition of the newspaper. So we started from being print first, then to be digital first, then to be social media first, and we are changing to video first because we are seeing that the more interaction, more engaging is there. We're not letting the newspaper die. It is thriving, it's good, thank God. Also, we have the website, the newsletters, but we are moving more where our community is, in our case.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Thank you so much, Diego. Christian.
I think kind of like echo what my other panelists said. I just wanted to make sure that the news that I was writing about, the people that I was writing about, would get to the people that needed to. Because I know on our newsrooms, our audience is not usually the people that we want to reach. So I wanted to find a way. I think when I started the project, that was my way. How to be able to reach people that needed to read our news, things that affect them, things that can help them with that. And through learning, through this is kind of what the best way I could find out to reach them. It's outrageous making sure they get those news that affect them and they can read them in a language that they understand and they're attracted to it in a language that I can understand that is welcoming, so we can create trust between our communities and the people that are there to serve them.
Definitely. A similar question, but I'll reword it here a little bit for our next our three other panelists here. Especially with your projects, you really brought in the community or like understood what they wanted or kind of asked them questions and how they would use your tools and everything. Why was that so important? And I just want to highlight why it was really important for you all to bring your community in and understand how they feel about this process and using AI and this work that you're doing. So I'll start with Hanak.
Hi, I think my experience is a little bit different because I started with
Right.
addressing my needs and my interests first. I'm not sure if you remember, Kyle, when we were in
Yeah.
New York, I was throwing out ideas. I'm gonna adopt a road and I'm gonna start the fishing events because that's
Mhm.
something that I would I wouldn't mind hanging out with. I'm really introvert and I try to avoid people. So I used those brainstorming sessions to bring in my readers to my events and then use those opportunities to learn more about the needs of the community. In fact, it's not only the games, almost every articles and news we do on the website is informed by these events that we host. So I have created the events first and then started the listening of the community later. So.
You bring up such a great point, Hanak, of you started, and for many of you, started with what do I want to do? How do I, what do I want to get out of this, right? But then you went back and actually talked to your community and understood then. Thank you. It's a great point. Janina.
Yeah, I think Mochi Magazine being kind of a legacy publication that I inherited, it wasn't something that I started, means that we have over 100 alumni that we consider, our community and our ideal readers. And I think that they had worked on so many articles in the past that just weren't getting views anymore, not because they were out of date, because a lot of them were evergreen articles, but just because the way that websites work and the way that social media works is that you usually push out your most recent content. And obviously, we could dive into our archive and push out on social media our old like articles, but it wasn't getting clicked through. So I think that what I heard from community members who were part of the Mochi community before, but also other readers who just love Mochi, is that they miss hearing our old content. They want to know, not just what's new, but also what, we have talked about in the past.
Prachi.
I think I believe that as great as hunches we could have as news organizations, it is really important to bring our community in to understand what they are feeling and going through at that particular time of moment. And for us, bringing in second and third gens to come in and talk about their own selves when they usually feel that they don't have that space to actually, make changes in the media representation and media coverage that's happening around them. So it was really important for us to bring them in, understand, and give them a safe space to just talk about what they're feeling. And that's basically what our surveys and listening circles came out to be, and then extrapolated and combine it with the broader understanding and all of the other data that we have. And they speak to us in different ways. It could be personally in person through these sessions, but it's also with what are the things that they're engaging with, what are the content that they're liking or not liking when we put them out on our website or on our social media platforms. So it's really listening in into what they actually believe in and want, is how I approached into making something that would be more interesting and relevant to what they're going through.
Totally. You all also have small teams. You don't have big newsrooms, right? We're talking like 10 maybe people in your organization or less, for many of you here. So, there's a great question about, what it was to work on it. Was it just you? Did you have team members that helped you, work on this project? And also, how did you get that buy-in from your organization and the other people with you that this is something that you should work on? I'll start with Diego.
Sure, we are a small team. We had like a large team after the pandemic because we have a huge number of reporters here. We have a huge, traffic from social media that changed in 2022 when Meta cut that traffic. So also our team got small, and we had to find ways in which we reach the impact that we need to do for our community. So we are multitask. Unfortunately, that's a myth, but we have to do it. We're multi-platform. And here, the good thing that I like from Noticia is they are really willing to experiment. And I think that's key for any newsroom that would like to grow. If you have the chance to experiment, that will give you some room to improvements. So we have that. We start, again, as a print edition newspaper, we experiment with newsletters, we experiment with the website, we experiment with things in social media. We have been experimenting with video. Now we're experimenting with AI. So that sense of experimentation, it's good. Obviously, of course, never letting that your principles, your guidelines will be the column that will guide your work.
Totally. I also, Prachi, you brought up your AI ethics guide, and I'm curious how you developed that. And I know many of our panelists here also are wrestling with some of those questions there. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, our team really dived into, me coming in with everything that I learned into the lab and then giving them a brief at every staff call that we had. And it just really brought the whole team together to start thinking about, we had been using it, occasionally for our own personal stuff as brainstorming assistant and things like that, but really brought the whole team together to start thinking about, okay, if we are really getting into using this so seriously, we definitely need to come up with an ethics and policy guide. And it also came out because we had a session on that during the lab. I think me and the editorial team sat down and had a conversation on, okay, where does this fit into our editorial product in general, how the team is using, and mostly it was just me using it primarily. But again, defining all of those different pieces and being as transparent and as granular into which tools are we using and for what, so that our audience doesn't feel that they don't know where it is, or it's something, some kind of a vague idea that, okay, these guys are using AI, but where? And if they don't know, we don't want them to be, we don't want them to misunderstand how we are doing our things and lose our credibility of like almost 4 decades. So yeah.
Janina, you also talked about something similar in that you had like a hard line of what you will and will not do. Can you talk a little bit about that, those conversations with your team and how you got that buy-in for that this is something you should do?
Yeah, I think for us, because, writing is a lot of our bread and butter, it's hard for us to say that we were going to produce content that is written by AI, right? So I think that that is kind of our hard line, is that we will never put out, written content that is produced by AI. Um, and that's a community sentiment as well, right? They don't want to be reading things that are run through AI or created, completely from AI. And then the other line for us was creating images on AI. And that was actually because our readers said that they didn't like that. So less of a staff thing, but more because of us. And we've had lots of conversations internally just because it's so much more accessible. So we've been talking about, slowly rolling things out. And I think that the staff is actually a little less optimistic than I am about AI, and I'm really excited about it. But I can understand, given that this is a lot of the work that we do, right? Writing is our bread and butter, as I said.
We have just a few minutes left here, but this has been so amazing, and thank you all so much again for sharing the incredible work that you've done here. Last, very quickly, I just want to hear from each of you, how has how has it changed? You came in and there was a question here that I'm kind of alluding to about the learning curve. Many of you started off not using AI at all, so. Are you using it now? Like how much are you using it in your kind of day to day? Henok.
Major learning curve for me is not plugging all the codes that I have got from Gemini or ChatGPT into the website before testing it on the AI itself.
Yeah.
Because my website was down for a whole day because I had no idea what I did because I have zero coding experience. I just copied the entire code and pasted it, and I have no idea what happened, but it was down. But I was able to recover to the previous day backup. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the
Alvin, can you talk a little bit too about the learning curve?
Yeah, I spoke to that question in the chat a little bit. So it largely depends on the platform, right? So Notebook LM, we kind of use it as a research assistant, and so that's almost as simple as simply uploading a link, plugging in a PDF, and getting information out of it. So I'm certain that for some of the more complex projects, the learning curve was a bit different. But Notebook LM really allowed our entire newsroom to use it as a listening device largely.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you keep playing with it, you keep using it. Sometimes you break things like your website, and you kind of learn and go from there. That's, I think, a great ending and a great, takeaway from the lab there was, there's a lot that's happening AI. It's constantly moving, it's constantly evolving, constantly changing. But you all are, not afraid of taking those risks and playing and trying new things and bringing your audience in and your community into the fold there. So I want to thank you so much to our panelists for being with us today. Just very quickly here, I'm going to share my screen really quick because I have some last minute things just to talk about for everyone. This is not the last time that you will hear from us. We have 2 more showcases that will come up in 2026 because we have 2 more AI labs that are going to be happening next year, our AI journalism lab leaders and our AI journalism lab builders. So make sure you sign up. That QR code goes to our website to sign up for our emails to make sure that you get them and you know what is all happening with our programs here. And then just very quickly, I know my colleague Marie dropped in the chat here the feedback survey in case let us know what you thought about today's session and so what the projects you like to hear. So thank you all so much again for being with us today. Thank you to our panelists. You're incredible. You're amazing. Please feel free to bother them and talk a little bit about what they're doing with AI. So thank you all so much again. I really appreciate you all being here for the wonderful questions, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.